Hello, this is Lady B, the Queen of Wellness. I come before you right now with open hands and open arms, knowing and how we do it always before we get the session started. And the title of this session is It Is Not Your Fault, period. It is not your fault. So we're going to breathe in, bringing our arms up into midair, holding it in for a minute, and we're going to let it out slowly. Bringing our arms down side by side. And we're going to do it once again. Bring our arms up and hold it for a minute as we bring our arms down slowly. And we're going to open our eyes. Felt good, didn't it? And as I stated, the title of this message is It Is Not Your Fault, period. Sometimes tutoring others help you to nurture more about yourself. You are never too wise to reach out to others. It is not your fault. You had to raise yourself. And it is not your fault, but you had to lie to yourself. It is not your fault why you had to develop the ways that you did and why you felt the way you felt. The shamefulness, it wasn't your fault. Why you had to pose to be someone that you weren't, that you thought that you had to put on this air of other than yourself to be able to fit in. It was not your fault. You never wanted to be, and even when you made the mistakes of situations that occurred, believe me, it was not your fault. It is not your fault when you had to go out and steal and you had to even lie to others in order to pay a bill. And for those that you had to take away from, that you had to make up images of yourself because you never received the image that was intended to be from your childhood. It is not your fault. Remember, it is not your fault. It is not the things that you had to do in order to make you who you are right now. But it did as you began to develop that it was a part of what you had to go through in order to learn the skills and to believe that you can do it differently. Remember, it was not your fault. And while you had to shed many tears, and still you cry tears even unaware within yourself when you are alone by yourself, and those that you have truly loved, and even those that you had just met, it is not your fault why you put up a covering. Really, it is not. Why you had to also learn to survive, and you didn't turn it into a lie while doing it. And the purpose alone with going into an image of self, trying to prove to be the person that others wanted you to be. Deep down inside of you, you felt uncomfortable about this. And this had been taking on for a very long time. You began to isolate yourself and even doing the things and the ways that you thought maybe it would make you feel even greater. And you told those that you were around certain things about you, but then you even felt worser after you told them because you felt that they would judge you. You're going to be fine as you begin to wake up one day and you looked at yourself in your mirror. You postponed engagements. You even cut off people that you said that you cared about, remembering it was not your fault. You didn't have the role model, nor did you even have the parents that you had made up to believe perfect. You began to realize as you went on that you had to change your thinking. And in your isolation of your inner mind, you and your walls, it became cloudy. You had to become you all over again. You had to. And in your isolation, you found yourself. No more sadness. No more feeling you unworthy. You began to see the meaning that you are reborn. You rearrange your past images to the type of ideals that will be beneficial to you and to everything around you. You yourself, you have learned the tools first to say, I forgive myself and it is not my fault. And in what you only knew at the time in your early years to your childhood, do not feel ashamed of what you had to learn. Every day was a driving tool and it was a mode of surviving. Each scar that had been inflicted upon you, you had to tell yourself every day that you are living, you are breathing, and that is not your fault. In the way you had to even breathe, it felt toxic and it felt so unhealthy. You're alive and you are well equipped being alive. You yourself, you are worthy, you are special, and you are beautiful. While you are still here on earth to this day, believe it or not, you were never a mistake because it was not your fault. While you are alive today, you learn how to brush the waves when it was windy. You learn to brush the waves when it was sunny outside looking through your window, but yet it became even more sunnier when you looked through the glass. You began to see it was not your fault. And knowing the newness that you learned about yourself, you began to tell yourself as you had learned to do the unspeakable that you thought that you could never do. And through the wellness and through the approach and to the new images of your islands, you begin to see your upbringing. It was not your fault. Yes, it was horrible, and it did not seem that you would not make it to the next stage of even looking out throughout yourself. You didn't think that you would have made it through. But yet, today, as you are growing into this newness, into this new approach, into the radar, into the image of knowing that you gave yourself a chance, you begin to see that there was nothing wrong with you because of how you was risen, how you had to bring up yourself, and how you had to grow. You were learning a new way as you begin to analyze all of those misfortunate that was instilled upon you, the scars that was so painful mentally, physically, verbally, and even so hurting things that were said in words. But you begin to analyze through the lies, through the deceits, and through the deceptions that you begin to say, I know that all of this, as you begin to wake up and you begin to see this newness of you, you begin to realize that it was a purpose plan why you were stolen from your identity from way long time ago. But today now, you are learning to be happy like never before. Those chains that had been locked around you, those walls that had been shut, felt like they were caving in and never would ever open up again. You have learned, and you have learned courageously, and you have learned so proudly. You have taken the valley wings, and you have stirred your wings, and you are flying every moment that you breathe. When you wake up, you wake up with a smile. You wake up with a zest, and you wake up feeling so alive like never before. So remember, when you go back to those huddles, when you go back to those hurting pains, and you will probably still have many more tears. You will probably still have more itching, not being certain of why you have this itch upon your soul. But it will come to the surface where you will understand through the vibration and through the energy, through your emotion as it travels to you, through the unified that will come instill inside of you. It will rain and it will come down, and it will bring out a cleanness, a wellness through this situation that has occurred to you. Each time when it happens, each time when you feel it, just tell yourself it was not your fault. Tell yourself you are here for more than you could ever imagine. Why you here, and love all of it. Love all of you. Love every portion that was drowned inside of you as if it was a needle that was being injected in you. You have the right to tell yourself a newness about you. You tell yourself, and you keep telling yourself, when you envision yourself outside of looking in the mirror, when the thought comes into your mind, when the thought comes into going back to your childhood, when that thought comes, and you're in the stages that you are in, into your years of maturity, tell yourself that it was not your fault, but you are glad and you embrace it and you welcome it in your doors, through your walls, and through your movements. You welcome each one in, and you feel a greatness that is worth having. It is your time. It is your time to shine. It was not your fault, but you are here to live, to tell the story. This is Lady B, the Queen of Wellness. I'm going to leave you for now, but remember, never forever, and I so shall be back. Do not forget to subscribe to my page. Give me a thumbs up and a view. Much love and peace. And I love you. Goodbye now.